Hey everybody out there, you're tuned in to 91.8 The Fan. You're in my corner and I have a returning guest in the corner. Would you like to unveil your secret identity to the masses?
Maybe. Or would I have to kill them if I did?
You could, but then we wouldn't have any listeners.
Okay. It's Amanda C. Miller. Hello, everybody.
And welcome back to the show. We're very excited to talk with you again because you were so amazing the first time.
Oh, thanks. And I may have actually said that same thing last time. I think that's my instinctual response when somebody says my secret identity is murder.
Murder and death and
Murder.
torture. Well, hey, somebody's got to have a response to that sort of thing, so it all works
Right.
out. But obviously, we asked you onto the show again because you're in a game that everyone is talking about. I have traversed the social media and our website and our live chat, and I can't find anyone who really isn't playing the game at this point. But it's dang it, Grandpa! I mean, Danganronpa. And you actually play technically more than one character in the game.
Yes. I will say. I will leave it at that for right now.
Well,
Don't want to
so
spoil it for people who haven't finished it.
Well, fair enough. We will talk a little bit about spoilers in the second half of the interview, but for those of you who are unfamiliar with the game, I'm kind of curious, what did you think of the game? Because it is a different type of genre.
What are you asking? You're asking me or the fans?
I'm asking you, the fans can't respond, so.
All right, I was going to be like, live tweet now. I don't know how the internet works. Anyway, I really, when I went in, first of all, when I auditioned for it, I knew it was something very bizarre because the audition copy was not typical. It was like bouncing all over the place and it was very intense and dark. And then when I went in to record for it, it was like, that's probably still my favorite recording session for anything I've done so far was Danganronpa.
Was it perhaps
Like
because the game is so crazy, or because the emotions you had to bring out into the session?
the game, because the game is so crazy and it kind of allowed me to play and just really just kind of go to all the different parts of my personality and just kind of um, yeah, and I love dark things. I'm a very morbid person, so the whole Hunger Games battle royale, just dark high school murder stuff. Well, no, I should clarify. I don't like high school murder, but in the video game, it was just a very intense concept, and I'm just like kudos for going there because I guess in the visual novels, I guess I haven't done as much of those type of games. I don't know if they're very as popular here as they are in Japan, but that was fun.
I mean, we get them now and again, but a lot of the ones that I play, because I really love that genre, but a lot of the ones that I play on Vita or PSP are generally not dubbed, which is kind of a shame, all things considered.
Well, I mean, I like that. I don't have a Vita, so I haven't played it yet. But I heard that there's a dual audio function, so
Yeah.
I like that because not everybody's gonna love the English version. So I like that they decided okay, we're gonna appease the dub fans and the sub fans and make everybody happy. So if you don't like my annoying voice, you can hear the Japanese one.
Yeah, I'm really excited whenever there's a choice, but for me with the visual novel, I just feel more attached to it when all of it's in English because especially for this game in particular, because there is so much kind of raw emotion, even though it's really crazy and wacky, I feel like the Japanese would distract me more than it would immerse me into the story because it's more
Yeah.
relatable to me when it's English because that's my native language.
Well, especially because NIS did a really good job at not just translating it, but making the jokes apply to an American audience. Because sometimes there's certain things that just don't translate. But that might be hilarious in Japan because they know those references, but we're like, what? So I've seen some clips from the game, and I've seen how they, they make references to ragu or whatever, and I don't know if they have ragu in Japan, but it's that's one of the things I like about dubs is sometimes they kind of make it more culturally relevant or try to. But
Yeah, yeah, they seem to try and westernize it a little bit. Like if I really wanted to let my brother's 10-year-old, daughter play it like she wants to, she could, and she could understand everything in it, but it might traumatize her. But
Yeah.
at least the option is open for her, where if they were all speaking in Japanese, I'm afraid she might go to school and start saying things in fake Japanese and offending people. So,
um, yeah, I definitely did not realize how much language was in the game because I was listening to it and I didn't have my headphones in, and I'm sure my roommate was like, "What is she listening to?" Um, and like I forgot some of the lines I had recorded, so I startled myself. Sometimes when Toko yelled some things, I was like, "Oh my goodness, I forgot about that." Um,
that character
yeah.
is really interesting. I just have to throw that out there because not just because of the spoiler territory, but just because she has such low self-esteem the entire time.
Mhm. Yeah, I think, and that was one of the challenges with, the fact that she stutters. We wanted to make it not be like, not like a Porky Pig kind of thing, like where we're commenting on it or making fun of it, because it's a real issue people struggle with. And usually one of the psychological things is that they want so badly to say something, but they either it's a physiological thing that keeps them from doing it, or it's a psychological insecurity where they're like, I want to say this, but I can't, get it out, and I don't feel like I deserve to speak, or that I don't know. There's so much that goes into it. Where Toko's just kind of like, she really wants to say things, but she just kind of second guesses herself all the time, and doesn't really have a lot of friends. So
I will say, as a player, it was really interesting to interact with that character because initially you kind of feel bad for her, but then when she comes out, you just think I'm ugly, or you just think this, and you're dirty
yeah,
or whatever, and I'm like, okay, fine, I won't spend free time with you. I'm gonna go this way.
yeah, she kind of has built up a wall and pushes people away, um, except for her man. Well, the guy she wishes was her man.
I was about to
that
say. I was
that makes
about
me
to say.
so sad.
That
That's like my
whole
high school.
oh.
My high school life is like me being in love with all the boys,
I hope
and
your
there was
high school
nothing
life
but.
didn't involve like Saw-esque sort of, death scenes and whatnot.
I mean, mostly only junior year. I think by senior year we had kind of cut that out. And the
Okay,
school
oh,
rules
fair enough.
not to kill people.
Funding was cut in the school, so you couldn't do those fun things anymore.
Yeah, like I'm sorry, those execution setups cost a lot of money, like the Versailles witch hunt thing, like they're all just so much money to build those sets that they were just like, we can't keep staging these things.
Now, out of sheer curiosity, have you seen any footage of the execution animations?
Oh yeah, I'm such a nerd. I really like when I got cast in the game and I knew what it was, I went and looked it up online. Like as people had posted the Japanese footage. And maybe I'm not supposed to, but I just really wanted to understand where the characters were coming from, where they were going, what is going on. Because when you're recording a video game, like we didn't get to see any of the pictures. We weren't matching to picture. We were just kind of doing the lines without any reference. I mean, we had seen like one photo of the character, but for the most part, you don't really know the context. They'll let you know like, okay, on this line you're yelling at somebody. On this line they've accused you of murder and you're trying to defend yourself. Like they give you a little bits here and there, but they don't really tell you the overarching thing of like, okay, you did this, and then this happened, and then Sakura, and blah blah blah, and then they met in this room. Like you don't know that, so I kind of wanted to do my own research, and yeah, I watched the Funimation subbed version on their website. So I've gotten into the nerdiness of it. Oh, and I like AMVs. I love searching for Danganronpa AMVs.
Oh, I've got a few I could show you. But that's
Excellent.
actually what really piqued my interest into the series. And then I was like, man, I really want to play this. Do I have to import it? But if I import it, I won't be able to understand any of it. And then
Right.
NIS saved me and announced it. So I was like, yes, yes.
No. Yeah, yeah. I think AMVs are underrated, and I feel like they're a lost art. I mean, the people still do them, but I just remember in high school, like, I don't know, it was much more of like, I mean, I don't know. I guess people are making more of them now, but they're not as I don't know, in high school for me they were big, and like you couldn't just find them on YouTube. You had to like download them on like Kazaa or something, and you had like a collection. And I discovered new anime that way. I discovered new songs that way, and I feel like they're just a great commercial for like new, new series where you're like, oh, that looks really cool. That looks like, it's a little like 2 minutes, 3 minutes sample, and I think they should do that for every anime and every video game.
That would be
But I guess
wonderful.
you probably can't do sport. That's the problem with Danganronpa videos is that like if you haven't played the game, you can't watch the AMVs because there's the most of the footage is like talking with dialogue at the bottom, and it's not actually like stuff you can use for an AMV. So all this actual footage and cutscenes are pretty much all spoilers and executions and reveals. So that's all people have to work with when they make the AMVs for this one.
Well, the executions are so dark. I think as a player, when you're experiencing the game for the first time and you get to your first execution, you're like, whoa, somebody just dropped the ball. Like there's like this sudden atmosphere that's just really dark. At least that's what happened to me. Like I knew murder was going to happen. I knew people were going to kill each other. But when I saw the first execution, I was like, oh, this is a little bit more serious than I thought. Hmm.
I wonder if I want to play it, but I don't want to buy a PS Vita right now because I don't have money and I want to pay rent. But
Shh,
I
rent.
really kind of want to I want to play it like all the way through because I wonder if I've lost something by kind of knowing how it ends before playing it. And like the executions weren't as severe for me because I've already seen them put to fun music. So it's like, oh yeah, that guy dies, that girl dies. Yeah, I've seen it already. And I wonder if you play, if you play it sequentially through and you become like we talked about before we went on, about you get attached to these characters, and I feel like it's much more painful when you see them explode or whatever or sent into space.
No, I agree. I mean, there were characters in the first and second trial that I just wanted to know more about before I made my decision of who was my favorite. And then they were gone. And I was like, oh, oh.
Oh no!
That ups
Is the game kind of like is it a little bit like Fire Emblem where you like make alliances and stuff, or is it kind of more just like you can't really shape it yourself? You kind of just follow a set story.
To be fair, I don't have a 3DS, so it's a little bit unfair of me to compare. But the story in Danganronpa is more concise and straightforward. I mean, it's not really necessarily going to change unless you fail a class trial. However, you do get moments of free time where you can interact with different characters and become closer to them and give them gifts or become their friends and things like that.
Where do you get gifts from if you're trapped inside the school?
There is a school store, and you can collect these coins if you examine certain things, and you can use those Monokuma like coins in like this little like they have the little capsules in them. Like you put in so many coins, and you turn the handle, and you get a little capsule, and that's your present you can give to somebody.
Hmm. There's like a gift shop in the murder high school.
Well, why not? I mean, you want souvenirs and you survive, right?
That's true when you go out into the world that may or may not still be there.
But before we get too much into talks about the game, we're going to take a short break here on 91.8 The Fan. Don't go anywhere because when we come back, we are going to talk a little bit about spoilers as well as future projects and other projects that our special guest wants to pimp out. So keep it tuned to your favorite station. Hey everybody out there, you're still tuned to 91.8 The Fan. My special guest is still here, alive and breathing. And just as a precaution, we're probably going to talk about some Dang It Grandpa spoilers. I mean, Danganronpa spoilers. So, just in case you haven't gotten too far in the game, you might want to check out this section a little bit later when it's posted on the website. There's your warning. There you go. It's Mike's super
Spoiler
short show.
alert.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But no,
Oh
can
wow,
you
that's a throwback.
I know, right? I just
My
aged
short
myself
show.
like 10 years and I'm 23. What did I do? But no, can you explain to the listeners out there what characters you do play?
So again, big spoilers. So if you have not played it, turn this off. But yes, in the game, I play Toko Fukawa. I play her more shy, stuttering, kind of insecure side. And Aaron Fitzgerald plays her other personality, Genocide Jack or Jill, or I'm not sure what they've gone with in the game. Um,
I think
who's
it's
like,
until she's revealed, I believe it's Genocide Jack, and then when she reveals herself, she's like Genocide Jill. So I
okay,
believe
so she
that's
does
what ended
change.
up happening. Yeah.
Okay, because I know in Japanese it was like genocide or syo or something, and I had no idea how that was going to translate. So yeah, and then I also, as far as Junko, I play normal Junko, which, okay, big spoiler. I guess technically it's also her sister. Um, I think it's Mukuro or Ikubasa or something. I don't know. I don't know anything. Um, so yeah, I play her. I play the royal queen version of her, one of her many different her personalities that she puts on when she's bored. So I play the queen. I play the moe one, who's really cute and girly. I play the rocker chick, like angry one. And which one else? Oh, I play like her emo, depressed one. I think that's it. She's got so many, it's hard to keep track.
Which is
Um,
fair enough, and you also shared that role, I believe, with Aaron.
yes, Erin did. She was like the sexy ones. So she was the sexy teacher with the ginormous chest. She was also the one. She was also the bored one with the hand over the face. I think they call it model Junko. And then she
I
was
think
the
it's
Monokuma.
fashionista in the English version,
Okay.
but I
Uh,
could be wrong. So
does it like label them? Like when she's talking, does it say the different Junkos, or does it just say Junko and Ashima is speaking?
I can't remember actually. I'm going to have to go
Well,
back and look at that, but that'll be fun to determine which one you are and which one Aaron is.
yeah, like if you were to see the pictures, like if you were to hold up the different pictures of what they look like, I could point them out in like a second. But yeah, then she also did the Monokuma, like the one where Junko's like mimicking Monokuma's voice. So she was Monokuma's voice. She was, or not, no, sorry. She was not Monokuma's voice. She was Junko being Monokuma. And then, yeah, the other two, the sexy ones. Aaron Fitzgerald is just sexy.
Well, we do have an interview, and I hate to steal the spotlight off of you, but we do have an interview with Aaron Fitzgerald and America Young all about boobs on the website. So
It, all about boobs.
it was, well, to be fair, it was when Dragon's Crown came out, and it was about big boobed characters in video games and how the media was approaching those characters. And it seemed like Erin felt very strongly about it, so we wanted to ask her on and talk about good old fashioned sexism in video games.
Oh, that sounds cool. I love stuff like that. I like scholarly debates and social commentary and stuff. Luckily, I'm surprised. I have not played ginormous boobed characters, which I feel like is a blessing because in anime and video games there's so many of them. Um, like I'm talking like dead or alive boobs, or like I don't know. I used to play that. I used to play like Kasumi or something, and there were times where she would like jump and her boobs would kind of just go in like circular motions, and I'm like, that's a little too much for me. I'm trying to focus on fighting here, and you are distracting me.
Well, I
Um,
feel like fan service as a whole isn't bad, even if the boobs are bouncing in different locations or what have you, as long as I also get fan service as a female. And so I can go watch a show like Free, which has guys in Speedos all the time, and be perfectly happy.
the thing is, guys in speedos is not really my thing. Like, I feel like guys in tight, like, I don't know, tight European swimsuits, kind of just makes me laugh.
Well, the difference
Um,
here is these are anime guys. These aren't real guys, because real guys make me laugh all the time.
True. It's
But
especially because they're always like really hairy or really old, and you wish you didn't see that.
yeah, yeah, I
Although
know.
I do have to say, I love the fan service in like the Avengers movies, like Thor. I'm like, all right, I can't be mad at it.
Exactly. I love when a show or a video game or something has equal fan service. And my big thing with Dragon's Crown is that like the girls, if they want their fan service, all the guys are just as exaggerated. Like the warrior or the knight or whatever his name is, he has like this big gigantic top torso and small itty bitty legs. And it was just hilarious to me that people are like, well, this girl has big boobs. There's an issue. And I was like, what is the issue? This guy's shirtless and is the size of, a midget. and he's like built more than Fabio. Like I don't know what your issue is.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of wish we didn't have to resort to everybody taking their clothes off, but at least if we're going to, every like make it equal nudity. Did
Exactly.
you see? There was a thing where somebody did that about Game of Thrones. It was like a comedy sketch where they were like, HBO, you show boobs all the time. The ladies want to see some of the guys' stuff.
Yeah, I would be
Um,
okay with that. I believe
well, it
South Park
depends.
actually made a joke about that recently, about the writer of Game of Thrones.
That's a that's the funny thing is I think I heard that they did show one and it was like the giant, I don't even know his name. He's like the one who's kind of slow. Mm, He's like the guy who's like kind of pale. He's like a giant dude.
Well, to be
I
fair,
don't know.
I don't know many of their names in the show. I've only seen bits and pieces, so
Me neither, actually. Like I know a couple of them where it's like Tyrion or Cersei and all that, but like everybody else, it's like so and so of House blah blah blah. I'm like, whatever. Are you gonna die soon? Because I'm not gonna take the time to remember your name if you're about to die. So I'll give you a couple episodes and then I'll try to remember your name.
yeah, I'm just convinced everybody dies in that show. So
Yeah, seriously. I mean, I'm not gonna give any spoilers, but they definitely are like they're like a Joss Whedon show where nobody is too sacred to be killed off, and I love that because that's kind of like real life. Like I just love it where it's like you have to value every character because they might be one of the main characters and then they're gone.
I have to wonder though, has anybody done like a Danganronpa Game of Thrones crossover fan art yet? Because that just seems like a perfect fit at this point. I'm
Well,
just
what
throwing
kind
it
of
out there.
what were you thinking? Like who would
Whether
be like the narrator?
it's a fan art or maybe like a sketch or something, or even like one of the AMV where somebody matches lip flaps or something.
Oh, I see.
That would be
Hmm.
fun.
I used to do that. I did that for Johnny Quest. I would do like movie trailers for like The Matrix or 300, and then I'd take footage and it's on my YouTube channel from like high school. Um, but it's so fun. I wish I had more time to do that, but I need to do things that pay me now. I
Yeah,
don't have time.
being paid is always a good thing, and considering the fact that
Yeah.
we're talking about pay, there's also other projects that you've been working on that either you can reveal or you can't because, NDA ninjas are stuff that recently came out that you want to pimp to the fans.
Yeah, I also, for anybody out there who plays Marvel Heroes, I play the recently released Kate Bishop, who's also known as Hawkeye. Not Hawk Girl, Hawkeye. She is equal, and she's bad. Well, I can't say swear words, but she's weird to say
You
bad
could say
butt.
she's kick-ass. It's okay. That
Wait,
one's okay.
okay, so I was gonna say badass, but it's like the second part where I'm like, I don't know if I can say that, but bad butt sounds weird.
Yeah, bad butt does sound kind of like, there's a problem there. She might need to go to a
Right?
doctor. So,
She's got a growth or something.
but
Yeah, no,
yes, you could
Kate.
say she's a kick-ass character.
Yeah, she's awesome. She she I was so excited to voice her, and I hope I did the character justice. It's hard because you're creating a character from scratch, so you only kind of have the comic books to go off of. And when I got the part, I didn't even have time. I wanted to go and like check out from the library because yes, I still use the library. I wanted to go check out the graphic novels before I recorded, so I kind of got an idea of her character. But the session was so quick, like they scheduled it so quickly after I booked it that I didn't have time to read it until afterwards. And I don't know. I still think I got like the kind of like the snarkiness and like the badassness, but I kind of also maybe might have done some things differently because like she's supposed to be high society in New York. I'm like, oh, well, didn't know that.
Well,
So
I'm sure that everyone gives a different spin to different heroes because I always feel like with superheroes, you never kind of know what an actor will bring to the table. And I think that makes them unique, or that iteration of them makes them unique.
yeah, like I like that I brought. I don't know. I try to bring strength to all my characters. And it's funny though, because I never read reviews or anything. I try to not read reviews or comments. But for this one, I was kind of curious, like, did I do her justice? And like, I read a couple comments, and then I like was scared away. So I don't know. if everybody hated her or if it was just this one person. But somebody's like, she sounds like a butch grandma. And I'm like, I'm like, should I be offended? I don't know what does that even sound like? A butch granny. Um,
I just think of
but,
like my grandma as the Terminator now. Uh,
yeah, like, is she like the granny who goes out and like rides a Harley and like, cause that I mean, I'd like to be a butch granny one day if that's the case. Um,
oh gosh,
but yeah.
that's a weird mental image.
And like somebody else was like, they should have hired Laura Bailey, and I'm like, I can't argue with that because I feel like you should always hire Laura Bailey. Um, like Laura Bailey could probably do every role, and I'd be okay with it. But she's busy, so sometimes you have to hire me.
I like
Sorry.
that. I wish I could find a business card that's like, I'm not Laura Bailey, but if she's busy, you could hire me.
Yeah, right. I
That
mean,
is
I
the
definitely
best
like.
voice acting slogan.
I mean, I definitely don't think like we're in the same. Like she's much more. She's got like the more. I mean, first of all, she's got great range. But like I can't usually pull off the sweet young. Like she did Toru so well in Fruits Basket. Like I could never. I mean, maybe I could, but I don't think I could pull that off as well as she did. Um, but yeah, Laura Bailey could have been interesting. I also think Grey Delisle would have been a really cool Kate Bishop, but I'm sure she probably. I don't think she does video games anymore because I think they do too much. Like they put a lot of stress on your voice.
Yeah,
So maybe
definitely.
that should go on my card. Like if Gray and Laura are busy, I'm here sitting in my underpants watching TV.
I cannot wait to exchange business cards with you the first time I meet you. It'll be fun. But for the
I'm gonna
fans
have them
out
ready.
there, for the fans out there, I know that you're also on a show that's on TV right now called Moggy, which I know
Yes.
that your roles aren't super, super big, but at the same time, it's getting a lot of praise. I've seen a lot of, forums light up with about this show, and so I know that you play a lot of the youngins on it.
Yeah, that's kind of been one of my specialties of the past couple of years is playing young boys, and in the least creepy way possible. Um, so yeah, I'm young. I think I'm young Jamil and young Kasim.
Yes.
Um, and it's definitely interesting because like they kind of age, so you have to be like young, and then less young, and then young-ish, and then teenage, or no, tween, I think they called it. So it was fun trying to find like the little subtleties that slightly age them, and what made Jamil different from Kasim, like because you can't just use the same little boy voice for everything.
Definitely. And now I'm kind of curious with a role like that, did you get to hear any of the older iterations of the characters to kind of base the younger one off of, or were they like, no, just wing it?
No, I didn't really get any. Like, they show you the clip you're about to dub, but they don't really show you kind of reference clips of like, this is what has just happened, or this is this character. So, yeah, I did not get that for those. Um, but
Fair enough. It happens.
I haven't seen all of Mug yet, but like I saw, we had a cast party for it, and they showed like the first couple episodes, and I'm like, this is supposed to be for kids? Because apparently in Japan, I've been told that it's kind of marketed for a younger audience. And I'm like, Aladdin is like motorboating everyone left and right. Is that what kids do nowadays? I'm not with it.
That's how you say hello in Japan. Uh, But, I feel like the anime audience here has definitely responded to it really well because a lot of the shonen shows are nearing their end or they have ended, and so I feel like Magi fits in pretty snugly in taking that place.
Mm.
So that's just my opinion on it. But I will say one of the things that I want to make sure we talk about before we let you go is Chris over here, my producer, recently reviewed an audiobook that you were a part of.
Yes.
And would you
Yeah.
like to explain a little bit about the book?
Yeah. So the audiobook that he reviewed is called The Wizard of Oz: A Steampunk Adventure, and it's a very self-explanatory title, which I like. Like it tells you pretty much this is what you're going to get. But it's a very imaginative retelling of The Wizard of Oz, and it's not like the parallels are not they're not so close where it's like literally a retelling, but it's like taking elements of it and updating them for like a darker, grittier, uh, you know, steampunk influenced kind of reality where Dorothy is actually, you know, there's like this conspiracy going on, and her father gets kidnapped, her mother's killed, and she has to go find her father in this giant countryside prison known as the Outcast Zone, or also known as Oz. So, she has to go into this giant island full of criminals and try to find her dad, and meets a lot of unsavory characters along the way, and there's like zeppelins and steam-powered automatons and stuff. So there's a lot of I really enjoyed narrating it. So I'm like, I want to give a copy away and share it with other people, let other people know about it, because I think steampunk and anime, they're starting to fuse a lot more.
Well, I will say for anybody curious, in the audiobook, we're actually having a contest, thanks to you, where if you want to win a copy of the audiobook, all you have to do is comment on Christmas's review, or Chris's review, however you want to refer to him. It's up on the website. It's on the main page in the slider. It's called Christmas Bonus, The Wizard of Oz, a Steampunk Adventure. So if you would comment, you're entered. Easy as that.
Yay! And if you don't get it, because only one person can get it. If you don't get it, it's on Audible. It's like $19. I thought it was really fun. I think it's worth it, but I'm kind of biased because I narrated it. Um, so I have a couple books on there. So if steampunk's not your thing, I have a historical fiction one set in Egypt, or I have one that's like a young adult like comedy with Hades involved. So they're all pretty fun. I loved all the books that I got to narrate this past couple months.
Now, it's funny because out of all the projects we've talked about, they all seem like they get really dark. I've noticed that you
Yeah,
just have a tendency to be attached to very dark projects in the end.
because I guess the thing is I don't like fluff. I like, yeah, I don't know why that is. I've always, even when I was like 6, I was always that kid that like watched the news and would just sit there and watch stories about terrible things and be like, oh my God, the world is so dark. So maybe that's where it comes from. Just my parents letting me watch the news, which is not good because I'm a very imaginative kid, or I was, and I'm still that way. So I'm the person who'll be like, but I saw this on the news, so then this could happen, and then that could happen, and then like a spaceship could crash into my house, and then I'll never get my security deposit back for my rent, and then I'll be broke and homeless, and there's a spaceship in my house. Like, that's where my brain goes to. So,
Well, we'll make sure to prepare you with a chill pill next time we ask you on.
yeah.
But no,
Xanax is my friend.
for the listeners out there, is there any place where they can keep up to date with any projects that you have coming down the pipeline?
Yeah, so I have my Twitter account, which I just started trying to get back on these past couple months, and I'm still figuring it out because it's like a foreign language to me. But so there, you can follow me at Amanda_Celine, so Celine. You can also follow me on Facebook, which I think I tend to update that a little bit more. So my Facebook fan page, I believe, just search for Amanda Celine Miller. Don't know the exact link.
It's
Yeah,
facebook.com/your name.
Yeah, I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure that's what it is. It's nothing weird.
It's in the live chat right now for anybody who's active in the live chat. It has just been posted there in case you want to go like her page, which you should.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, I'll try to keep people updated on my projects, but I also sometimes try to just share funny things I find on the internet, so hopefully that's not too annoying for people.
I think
Post a
that's
lot of stuff about
everybody on
Disney
the internet,
princesses.
though. Everybody has to share funny things.
That's true. Like, I think one of my favorite trends lately is, I don't know why, but I see a lot of things in my news feed about pictures of people mid something. Like, it's a snapshot of, like, figure skaters, and they're jumping, and, like, mid-jump, they take a photo of them, and they're, like, the most horrible-looking faces I've ever seen, and it cracks me up. And then, like, there was a haunted house one where there's like a Canadian haunted house, and there's this big scare at the end where it looks like a car is coming at the people in the house, and they snap a photo for that split second, and oh my gosh, like seeing like giant, bald, muscular men jumping on their woman's back, screaming, just stuff like that.
I'm one of those people that really enjoys people terrified. Like, for example, I'm really into horror games. So when I find
Oh,
one that's really good, I have to find somebody on staff that's like, hey, you got free time, you should play this and let me watch. Like, I'm one of those
are you
people, like, I know it's gonna creep them out and I just want to see them, like, get scared.
were you one of those people when you remember that thing? It was like a couple years ago where like you would be focusing really intently on the screen, like maybe it was a maze or a puzzle or something, a picture that you were looking at,
Oh, and then
and the
something
person,
will pop out at you.
right, like the girl from The Exorcist's face would suddenly pop up. Were you that person that would like be like, "Hey, come look at this," and then laugh?
Yes. I was the
You were
person.
that person.
I was also the person that it wasn't last year. I think it was the year before. There was this like creepy Korean comic going around that when a lot of people actually on staff hadn't seen it, but the comic actually, as you're going through it, it begins to move with like sound effects, like somebody's head will turn, you'll hear like this creak, like really like violent sound when you're just reading a comic. You don't expect to like hear or see anything move, so it freaks you out already. And I
Right.
remember one of our staff members, we have it recorded, his name is Bobby. And one of the staff members, I sent it to him, and I didn't realize that he absolutely cannot take anything terrifying. We heard him fall out of his chair screaming, and then like 20 minutes later, he was still like hyperventilating.
Oh no.
And I was like, I'm sorry, but it's so like I couldn't stop laughing. I was getting to a point of where I was crying because like he couldn't stop cursing at me and telling me how horrible I was, but it just made me laugh more. So maybe I'm a terrible person.
Maybe you might be that person. Are you the kind of person when somebody hits their head, you laugh first before you ask if they're okay?
No, for if it's actual pain, then I'm usually the first one to be like, "No, that's not funny. What are you doing?"
No.
Because I'm like con mom at the conventions, but when it comes to scaring people, I'm fine with that.
Oh, okay. So if they pee their pants, it's okay, but if they're hurt, you're like, Mom.
Yeah.
Okay.
But now for the listeners out there who want to see you at actual events and not to scare you, but to hug you, do you have any conventions coming up?
I don't, but I would love to. That's kind of one of my goals is to be invited to a convention and not have to beg like a peasant. I don't know why that's the first word that comes to my head. But yeah, I mean, I'll probably be at Anime Expo. Um, and yeah, I love Otakon, so if I have the money, I'd like to go, or if I get invited. Um, yeah, I mean, I'm sure with Danganronpa, maybe those opportunities will start to come up, since it seems to be kind of on everybody's minds right now.
Definitely.
I'm
And
rambling.
is there anything else you want to tell the listeners out there? Any words of wisdom, dating advice, predictions for the end of the world?
um, predictions for the end of the world. Interesting. I feel like zombies are really big right now. Like even a lot of video games I'm auditioning for seem to be very zombie based. And I just feel like the end of the world is probably going to be very anticlimactic. Like I just feel like you're probably not going to have to fight off zombies. They're probably just going to be like, I don't know. I feel like zombies are going to be slow and boring. They're going to be like the Daleks in Doctor Who. You can probably just tip them over and they'll just like be on their back like a turtle. I feel like we're going to be disappointed by the end of the world.
Well, if that's the end of the world, we can take him. It's fine.
Yeah, yeah. I just feel like it's not going to be as cool as like The Walking Dead or 28 Days Later. I feel like it's just going to kind of be lame. Or like World War Z. They're not going to be as creepy as that.
Well, that might
That's
just be
my
the
prediction.
training phase, and then like a new strain of zombies comes out and they're like 10 times harder, so
That's
you never know.
true.
Could be a
That's
level up in there.
like I just feel like I don't want any excuse to make me have to exercise anymore. Like I don't want to have to train for a zombie invasion. So I'm hoping I get hit by a bus before a zombie invasion happens, basically, because I can't run very well. I get winded very easily.
Fair enough. I think I'm in the same boat as you. I can DDR away, but I don't think I can run away.
I'd be if you had to do a DDR battle with a zombie. Oh, before I go, I do have interesting information to impart to people because we're talking about being the stragglers when you're running away from zombies. I was on a film set this weekend working on this project, and we had goats, and they happened to be fainting goats. And we were like, why would a goat, like, how is that evolutionary, like, in evolution, how is that helpful to, when you get panicked, to, like, your legs lock and you just tip over and you can't move? Like, how is that helpful? And apparently, we learned that the origin was, that was, like, a defective trait, and instead, usually those traits die out, but breeders, uh, breeders bred more of them so that they would have more fainting goats, because basically they would put them in like their prize flock. So they have like their best sheep or their best whatever, and then they have one little fainting goat in there. So if a wolf or something came to attack them, they would go after the fainting goat and not after the prize flock. So that is why they survived, even though their traits are not very smart.
Interesting. So our
So now
words
you
of
know.
that there's our words of wisdom for today. You actually brought something that, wasn't something you would learn every day.
Yeah, so now you can be all smart and like, maybe if you're on a first date or you're, at night you're making icebreakers and you're awkward and all that, you can tell people about fainting goats, and then you're the coolest person in the room. Maybe not. I don't know. That's probably not very cool.
And then your significant other is like, "Do you live on a farm?" No. How do you
Right.
know this? Hmm.
A voice actor told me on the radio once, so it must be
Oh, that'll
true.
win bonus points. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
But but no, I really appreciate you being on today. It's been a lot of fun, and I have to say that it's been wonderful talking to you for a second time, and thank you for, being willing to talk about some of the spoilers in Danganronpa.
Yeah, I mean, I could talk all day about the spoilers. I love that game. But anyway, all right.
But for
Hope
any of the
everybody enjoys playing it.
Oh, yeah, we definitely are. And for any of the fans out there that missed any of this interview, don't fret. You can find it on the website within the next few days. So keep your eyes peeled to 918thefan.com and your ears tuned to 91.8 The Fan, where we play everything you want and nothing you don't.